Yo, happy Monday. How y'all doing? It's good to see you. Hope you had a good weekend. Gonna get up to little mixing and bouncing of stuff today. Bunch. Welcome. Purple Pros, you were in roller figure skating. That's amazing. Was that at the skate world? I bet that was around the time that I was opting for the gymnastics lesson just down the street at the gym nest over the skate world, which I remember then changing up dramatically, going full on in for the roller skating for a while after that. Little stretch of road was a hot spot. We grew up in a small town. Javar, welcome. Saffron, welcome. Zev, good morning. All right. So, we talked a little bit last week about finishing stuff and about how a lot of people just don't finish stuff. And it always comes down to so many different things. Some of the things you can control and some you can't, obviously. But I have found over the years that a lot of people get stuck in this spot with finishing things because they, quote, don't know how to. Well, there are so many different ways that you can finish stuff and leave it at a professional level. So, what I thought I'd do this week, and we're going to change up the schedule a little bit this week as well, because we're not going to have a Friday stream this week. So, we'll do another one either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll think about that while I'm doing today's show. Yeah, it's always that last 10%, Javar, right? The problem is when do you stop shifting that 10% threshold, right? So anyway, there's lots and lots of different ways to finish something. And I'm talking like finishing processes, not finishing creatively, right? Finishing creatively, you've got to figure out, at some point in time, you've got to figure out how to stop and when to stop. And knowing when to stop with what you're creating is specific to you, right? That's really what it comes down to. But when it comes to actually outputting something at a professional standard or level or quality, then I think that there's a bit more of a tangible nature to this, right? That we can all kind of talk through and come to some kind of common ground on, right? And when you find those spots, you chase them, right? Because you've got to find your rhythm eventually with getting stuff out into the wild. And I know a lot more people over the years who have hundreds of things sitting on their hard drives instead of up in the cloud somewhere for other people to find. And that the only thing that's really going to guarantee you not ever realizing those dreams is not putting the stuff up there. Eventually, people that like your stuff will find it. And eventually, people stick around and you grow a little thing in the world. You just have to start. So, hey, Faust. Yeah, Soundscapes. 4 game jams in a weekend. That's a lot of work for one weekend. Yeah, Saf. Did you sleep? Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds like a time, huh? All right, so we've got a bunch of just like general audio files that we've bounced in place inside of projects. And if you're doing individual sounds, sometimes this can kind of be a fun way to get out of your own head, where you get into the routine of bouncing in place inside of your projects. So you get your sound to a certain point. And then you flip through those sounds just in your audio files directory for those projects, right? So like for instance, here's 32 things that were bounced. And this was in a stream about a month ago. Happy February, by the way. We're already a month into the new year. And now I can listen to these completely out of context. And sometimes that's nice because you don't have the constant reminder of where something came from or what your original or initial intention was with it. You can kind of hear it with fresh ears. There's no distractions or preconceptions. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll probably open up these projects, but maybe not until we've had a chance to maybe bring it into a fresh project, just to kind of give a couple of examples of, you know, the kind of impact that it can have upon you and like what you're outputting. Because really, once you've had an idea and you've put it into your arrangement window or you can see the audio file, it should be pretty easy to push across the finish line, really. Before we jump into that, I'm going to click on a link that we just got from Foss. Where is Discord? Anybody get up to fun stuff over the weekend? Ooh, this one is called Cicada Ghost. That was cool. You had me wondering if those were wind chimes at first, at the very end, when everything died down. It took my ears like a few seconds to fully acclimate to the fact that these were actually not wind chimes. Loving the digital hybrid vibe on this one, homie. Like insectoid cyborg awesomeness. Maybe modulating a bit. Just a little filter here. Maybe even like a double notch, somewhere between like 1K and 18K. Maybe just kind of going back and forth. Hitting some subtle pain points here and there. Not that they're painful right now, but if this were to all be maximized and brought up a bit, then I think there would be some people going every once in a while. And definitely don't want to get rid of all of that because there's some really awesome shiny stuff up there. But maybe just like a subtle little double dip going back and forth. On that main bass droney element, doing like a multi-band parallel process where you put like maybe a gritty compressor on just the mids and try and take down as much of the high in there as possible. And I've been kind of going back and forth about the low end in my mind, similar to how if you had a double notch going back and forth between 1K and 18K, if you had something kind of similar sweeping back and forth on just the mid lows and lows range of that bass drum, just kind of going back and forth, I think you'd get a really cool kind of pulsing push and pull effect of the whole thing. I think it would feel like it was really kind of breathing. The really small metallic hits that are in here, like right around here or so. There was one. There was one. Basically, the idea is just put a small plate on that. I'm not sure what you have on there right now. Or maybe even a spring. A spring might be even better for this. And then put and I'm talking just a small one, like maybe half a second or something. And then put a bit crusher on there at a fairly heavy type setting, and then just reduce the wet dry on it. So just really quick, I mean like fairly destructive, like at least a 5, a down sample that matches the pitch of the metallic sound itself, set a clip point, and just dial it way back. You could even try a wrap on this, or a fold, just to give it a little bit more digital edge. And there's like a hint of this. It would be a really cool thing to bring in and out with actual clarity, like a very, very thin computational randomness, like a maybe even a couple of random servo sweeps, just like a little servo robot arm, just like a. And lastly, would this be a bit too much in the headspace, or would this be a good candidate for some mid-side mastering, right? Where you just take as much of the low end as you possibly can out of the sides and take a little bit of the highs out of the mids at the very beginning of your processing chain in the master, just to give it a very like striking amount of definition, that like the dynamics between the mid and the sides would be quite separate. might make for a really cool, like ultra futuristic finish on something like this. Said, how are you, man? Flip the phase of the left channel on stuff above 10K to do the phase cancel sound from inside the skull trick. Yeah. Nice, Ed. Welcome back, dude. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah, maybe a little more sample and hold there. If that's referring to the, like maybe the metallic hit stuff. Yeah, robot arm, a little servo action. Um, yeah, you bet, Phosphor. Absolutely. Javar's on SynthFest. Oh, Saf, look at that. Thousands of tracks, 15 unfinished sound packs, and 10 half-finished tracks. Granular toppers technique is great. Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah, we did a fun session last week, Saffron and I, where we ran through a whole bunch of various random little techniques to hack out a bunch of cool, glitchy, comey, granulary topper type stuff. All right, so into the productivity we go. So I was just flipping through these random sounds, which was actually from the 1228 stream. If I was to pull up that project, reverse reveal multi-wave. All right, let's see what these all sound like here. All right, so these are all actually going to sound just exactly as I created them because there's not even anything on the output or anything here. So we can pull these files in and not worry a lick about missing out on any processing ideas that I may have been dwelling on or something that day. And the reason why that can be really helpful is that, like I said before, you cut down on distractions and you don't feel obligated to do all of the sounds. It makes it easier to create a more curated collection of sounds, right? You're more likely to ditch a few sounds when you're looking through your Finder versus looking in the arrangement window of a project. And if you do hit a sound that you're not quite sure where to take it to differentiate it from the other stuff or to push it across the finish line in a more unique way, then that can kind of stunt your productivity across the board. And that's a pretty dangerous proposition, right? As a creative, because that could wreck an entire day, right? Or worse. So perhaps if you do feel those things from time to time, just looking at these files inside your Finder and making judgment calls about which ones you're going to work on, which ones you're actually going to bring into this next project, knowing that you're not going to open them up ever again, right? Not from a creation standpoint. Hopefully the next time you see these files in a Finder, they're a finished product, right? So let's take this first one. It's a cool little reveal. What is this, 60 BPM? All right, we obviously do not need all of that tail. All right, and I just want to remind myself what I started putting together a little directory here. And I want to match these up to the types of sounds that I'm outputting early in the process. Because building a really big library of sounds requires a little bit of planning ahead of time. I guess we could put this inside of the EQs or Brahms impacts. Actually, what if we just call this one random for right now? And we'll just put everything in there and see exactly what shakes out. Let's give this thing just a little bit of love. And I might be fairly heads down today so I can stay focused. You guys just scream really loud if you need something. Not a chorus. Ooh, actually, before this, I think and just a little bit of that iron to help kind of focus the middle of the sound. Let's put this thing on a small plate of some kind. All right. Just wrangle this a bit. All right, let's put maybe just a touch less reverb on there. Get this to a loudness level that we like. Someone was asking last week about the difference between bouncing for music stuff and bouncing for you know, samples, packs, stuff like that, where you know other people are going to be using it or the stuff is going to be, you know, mastered again or whatever. And my best advice there is focused most on perceived loudness. It really doesn't matter where your peaks sit because anyone can normalize a track. But if your stuff is perceived as too loud, then it's not going to get better when people turn it up in their own projects. So just being cognizant of that at every turn and knowing, you know, when to stop. Best skills to have. So if you know you're going to be working on a bunch of different types of sounds, which means you'll probably have a bunch of different processing chains running in one project, what you can do to kind of simplify things overall is to do all of your metering and loudness leveling on one track and keep your processes mutually exclusive to your sounds. So you'll have one meter measuring loudness and tracking correlation. And then what we put in for loudness, you know, ideally, if you're going to be running everything through it, it's going to work with all the various styles, or at the very least, give yourself some sort of overarching aesthetic. Maybe we'll go with a like a low loudness profile on this one. Yeah, that's already spicy. All right, and any EQing that I would be doing at the very end of something like this, I'm just going to use a linear every single time. So I'm not pushing around frequencies that I don't intend to. All right, this thing actually needs just a little bit of something before that reverb. Let's do a little supercharger on this one. Mild saturation. See if we can warm this up just a bit. It's getting pretty close right there. Definitely don't want to push it too much more, because again, people can make things louder on their end. I want to give it a kind of an older radio kind of vibe almost. Huh? And then usually after the first couple, you find yourself in a groove and everything starts to speed up drastically. All right, so we should save this first. Inside of streams, and this is February 1. Damn hoggies. Snowy Maryland. Paul, welcome. Dark, gray, and rainy here in Portland. A smashed strawberry make a good gore sound effect. It certainly could. Get a whole bunch of strawberries. Give yourself a chance to have some fun with it. All right, let's see about bouncing all of these. Right into our new folder here. Where shall we put that? Oh. I guess until we decide. Leave it on the desktop. All right, we'll just call this a ghost hack bounce party here. Okay, so this one is supposed to be that. And we will put this into the random SFX right now, which is where all of our reveals and stuff will probably end up being. All right, so on to the next here. I bet we have a couple more reveals in this one. We do. So I'll bring these different reveals into this same track and process them with the same chains. We might want to treat a few of those a little differently. So let's grab this reveal. Give these a little curve on either side. Yeah, we definitely want to spice this up. Let's take off these guys. Maybe some phase distortion on this one would be better. levels for that one. All right, let's zoom in here. All right, switch this to a text tool so I can borrow all the work that I did before. And let's start bouncing all these things. All right, so we're actually bouncing onto the desktop into this folder over here. All right, so that's the first of the low-key reveals. Pomegranate syrup. Phosphor, where are you? It's snowing a ton there, huh? I bet everyone on the East Coast is getting some wintry right now, huh? Well, not Florida. Oh man, Phosphor, I'm honored, man. Moving around your schedule for me, dude. Oh, look at that. Some Muse playing out in real time here. Pomegranate syrup will be used in oatmeal and a sound effect. Yeah, Paul. Get nice and cozy, man. Start a fire in the fireplace, fire up the DAW, or modular rig, as the case may be. A keen executive decision. Hey, thanks for the bits, dude. Appreciate that. 100 bits. 100 bits. What can we do with 100 bits? Shake them in a cup. Drop them from the rooftop. Oh, man. Oh, wow. The ProSynth network is being ditched in favor of this? Are you kidding me? Oh, man. Wait, Phosphor's throwing another 100 bits. It's raining. It's purple rain. Wait, hold on a second. Are you saying that there's pomegranate syrup in your pad thai sauce recipe, Purple Pros? Is that what you're saying here? Guy, welcome. Sticking something in public lounge. It's Rand Paul's hair. It's Rand Paul. It's right there. It's clogging the drain. Oh, man. What's up, Rain? I mean, Space Bats. How are you? Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's great. Season 2 of Tendril TV on February 27th. Moving it to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, you're in upstate. Awesome. Oh, dude. Guy. I think hot raspberries are sour. Saf, dude. Borderline quote of the morning right there. Thanks again for those bits, Phosphor. Hey, that's a different doggy emote. I'm not sure if I've actually seen or tuned in long enough to see the lifting of the ears. It's awesome. Oh man, pomegranate molasses would be a perfect substitute for tamarind. You're brilliant. Oh man. It's a dog party. Dog party. All right, let's get back to bouncing. Did I just bounce that one? I think I did. Yeah, so that one wanted to swells long. Yeah, okay, cool. Um, so the key to working with your focus on the perceived loudness instead of decibel levels is just periodically checking your output folders to make sure that it's all kind of coming up as a standard, right? As a consistent standard instead of kind of this weird floating point. Um, Except now I need to bounce that one again. Hold on just one sec. Had an EQ on there. And we've talked about this with guys like Zaris when we've had him in on the show about, and Imaginate these guys about knowing when to put the EQ on and when not to have it on there. Right, like these guys have got some low end in them that we want to preserve and protect. And this one, that last one got phase distortion. This one, let's give this one a pedal. It's the year of the pedal. In case you haven't heard, year of the pedal. Put a mixer on here. Let's grab this copy. Bounce this. Now, as long as these have their own character, it should be appreciated that there's variations rather than a bummer to find variations of the same, like, original root sound, even though these are at different octaves. And we just want to test that out along the way to make sure that we're always providing good value. And as you populate different categories, depending upon exactly like what kind of endeavor this is. For instance, this is a library that will actually be sold outright to a client who can then sell this again into licensing. And I will put together a good quarter or so of the entire thing and ship it over and get feedback on things like decibel level standards and stuff, which is another reason why I think perceived loudness is a good thing to focus on up front. Let's do another one of these low-key reveals here. Give this a little fade in and fade out. And let's take away this fuzz box here. And instead, maybe a little candy fuzz instead. Nah. Let there be cat. Cat. Bats. Genetically modified sea bass. Oh man, Paul, that might be the best, the single best command request I've seen on Twitch to date, actually. Man, that's freaking great. I feel kind of obligated now to make a command for this really quick. What happens? Let's see if we can have Google and Twitch collaborate on something together, shall we? Let's see what comes up here. Wait, what? Be careful what you type into Google. Okay, so let's open up Streamlabs here. CloudPot, commands, new command, bloop, response. I love how if you look up genetically modified fish, on the only true, real academic source there is online, it specifically states that GM fish are used in scientific research and kept as pets. They're certainly not sold at Safeway. Wink. All right, so back to adding my command here. There we go. Permission, everyone. All right, Paul now has a new command in the chat. Now, anytime anyone here types in genetically modified sea bass. Oh, come on, CloudBot. Oh, it took CloudBot a minute, but OhmLab, my bad. That's awesome. Maybe I'll even swap out the corresponding definition periodically, just to keep us all entertained more. Now, what we need is a floating graphic on the screen of some really wonky, like bulgy-eyed, genetically engineered sea bass, like mad science result, just all bloop bloop bloop. Can somebody make that happen? Who does the art for Damien's channel? Oh man, just something that's just like bloop 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 bloop. Oh, that'd be great. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, working on this. We just put out low 2 key reveal. Let's see how similar in loudness these three feel right now. feel pretty darn good loudness-wise. I'm getting tired of reveals though right now, so I'm going to switch to something else. Radio noise sounds good to me. Let's do that. So we'll just add another one of these. Select this channel. Bring this back. It's a great sound. All right, so we got to cut this out about here. Back that up just a touch. I'll fade in and out. Let's get rid of that sub rumble there. Cool. Let's add a little overdrive to this, just to get the brightness up a little bit. Let's target it pretty high. Let's put a little auto filter on here. There we go. There's the noisiness. All right, so let's grab this and bounce this out. This will be into the random. Let's grab another one of those. Yeah, like that one right there is going to need a totally different process. Even though it's only one octave up, it's got a bunch of resonance in it, so we can't do the same thing with that sound. Let's check this. Yeah, it's just way too much, obviously. So let's take those things off. And let's focus the energy of this thing a little differently. See what the other one ended up sounding like here. Yeah, I actually really like this this kind of filtered sound. Let's see what we can do about bringing up just like a little pocket in here. Let's not leave it around 2K though. That would hurt. $22.40. Just let a little windscape kind of develop there, and then we could just take down this resonant peak right here. Yeah, now let's tamp down this little peak here so it's not triggering stuff a little early. Yeah, this sounds like some freaking Perry Mason era noise right here. What do you think? Outer Limits, Twilight Zone? Oh, dude, that'd be great. We'll just create a little rabbit hole experience for the chat, right? So someone types in a command like that, and they're like, huh, well, what the hell is Klondike the... Oh, I'm just going to type this in and find out. That's great. Yeah, Saf, that's a nice one, dude. Being patient and waiting for the freezing rain to hit the trash can. That's a nice one. If you set your recorder up right next to a window when there's freezing rain and sleet and hail for that matter, and leave the room and just let that thing capture for like 20-30 minutes and come back, you end up with all sorts of really great stuff. You don't even have human breathing to take out. It's great. Ooh, a beat using Morse code. Run silent, run deep. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this. Okay, let's dial in the... Ooh, we got a nice little insectoid rattle at the very end. It's back here, tighten this up a little bit. Put a little in and out on this bad boy. Make sure it sounds okay. And bounce. Oh, before I do that, I gotta borrow this name. All right, next sound. Do another little radio chatter. These are starting to speed up a bit. Maybe my coffee's kicking in. Nah. Yeah. See, it's so much easier to walk on past a sound when it's not in your arrangement window. You don't feel obligated. You don't have that feeling like, oh, I created this, I need to do something with it. Let's see, stay focused. Let's move this bad boy over. This one over. All right, so let's grab this. Guy, I keep thinking about Rand Paul's hair in the train. Oh, I thought about it randomly over the weekend a couple of different times, and it made me giggle. My kid's like, "What? What? What'd I do?" I'm like, "No, it's not you." I'll come back to some of those. Cyber breath. Yeah, let's do a cyber breath. See, it just gets so much easier just to work quickly when you're not tethered to an arrangement window. A little in and out on this. I try not to put compression on a lot of this kind of stuff. So some weird, twisty, haunted kind of weird artifacting and stuff that happens down here, but I'm still going to scoop out a bunch around 500 just so it plays more nicely in people's mixes. Okay, that's good. So this would qualify more as like a swell. So I think we'll move this back over to swells and sweeteners. Long. Name it. It's rather aggressive. Tempted to take a look at maybe just moving this up to an atmosphere. I will think about that and come back to it. Let's see what's next in this folder here. Ooh, insectoid tension texture. Yeah. These are always good. So with these types of things, these like little chattery kind of bits, we got to be careful because they start so quiet. All right, so we've got 3 different versions of this thing. Let's just bring in the first one here. All right, let's bring this up quite a bit. Let's do a quick little check on our frequencies. That's good. All right, let's now put a compressor on there. Let's do a supercharger. Obviously need to boost this a ton. All right, let's see if we can't finagle this EQ a bit more to our liking. Let's see if we can get a little more chipmunky in here. A little bit. You know what this kind of reminds me of that we might need to bring back and toss in as like a little bonus in this pack, hidden somewhere as a little Easter egg? Those freaking screaming squirrels that Purple Prose captured. She captured those chattering little squirrels in a tree outside her place. And I turned them into these screaming monsters. We've gotta, I think maybe now we have to go find those. Copy this, bounce it out. This is going to be probably in the random bits for right now. Textures. Complex. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And that really came to life, having been just this a second ago. Yeah, two totally different sounds, right? All right, let's yeah, let's do this drone and start building out these texture folders. And just move this up a bit. That's loud. Gotta bring that down a bit. Yeah, that needs really just nothing at this point. All right, so this will be under drones, synthetic. Got distracted watching cat narcs again. Oh man. Bleep boop skiddly boop. Oh man. The screaming squirrel. Oh man. Yeah, not following politics is good. That's a good choice. But also, being able to still laugh at the Rand Paul joke is good. That sounds pretty solid. Let's check out this drone here. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll bring that one in. This was also a 76. It's pretty much done as well. Synthetic. Yeah, I wish there was such a thing as common sense, something that everyone could just agree upon. I think that there is. I think that there's been too much politicizing of things that should never be politicized, like public health. I know that's a pretty slippery slope because politics kind of have to enter it at some point, but still. Like if there's something floating around in the air that's trying to kill you, wear a freaking mask and not worry about what party you belong to, for goodness sake. Okay, yeah, let's toss these two in there as well. I really don't think these things really need to be touched. I'm just bringing the volume levels in line with one another. Bring fade ins and outs. Get rid of any clicks that might be hiding there. Yeah, it's a little harsh, and I like that. So let's copy that. See, that's the thing. I think that everyone likes love. Some people feel like it's kept from them, and bam, we've got issues. All right, this one's a little too much like the other one, so I'm just going to put a bit crusher on this one, or maybe a clip distortion instead. Okay, so let's see here. This is going to be like this. Let's see what that sounds like comparatively. Yeah, much warmer. All right, good. It's good to know the tricks. Politics. Very nice, very nice. And Paul, I kind of agree with you on that front. Like, to me, there's just a whole bunch of no-brainers lined up with one another or right next to each other. And then there's a lot of people screaming and yelling, trying to get attention, and none of the attention has anything to do with the topic at hand. It's like when you've got something simple like excuse me, like vaccine distribution or um, pandemic relief or like tornado relief or hurricane relief. Like, let's just take the pandemic stuff out because I know people think that that's like super political, but let's just say that, a state gets wiped out by a hurricane and you've got all these crusty old white men that are bloating these relief funding bills with their own political statements and things that they've been trying to get through Congress for over 20 years and haven't been able to. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, you haven't been able to get them through because you're a freaking idiot and the idea is idiotic. And now you're trying to cram it through in the most desperate time of these people's existence. You should be strung up. I mean, not like that, but like that's just a horrible uh like thing to even try. Yeah, I just want to move past all of that and see if there is some hope of like common sense moving forward. I think it's just really impossible with having the old guys club intact in there though. Ornaments. All right, let's see here. Next. Did I just do both those? I think I did. Drone 2. Yeah, okay, we can do both those, and both those can actually probably come in on the same track. Beastly. Oops. Oh, that's loud. Let's get rid of this clip distortion. Actually, let's bring that back and just turn it down. That's actually really nice. All right, that dynamic range is just a bit too big though, so I think what we'll do is we'll put compression on it, but after the clip distortion, so we can kind of bake it right in there. And hell, let's try the hot on this. All right. All right, that looked pretty good. For those keeping track at home, when you see me do this kind of stuff where I'm like, all right, let's turn up the input signal on one side of this plugin and turn down the output on the other side. It's not a six and one, a half dozen of the other kind of thing. If you, especially on any kind of clip or drive plugin, if you're cranking the input gain, you're running it through that plugin to intentionally cross a threshold and get some kind of tonal change or harmonic boost. And then the output gain is quite literally just the signal level leaving the plugin. So you can't find a lot of those tones unless you really start to drive the signal past a certain point. And then you just bring your peaks down. You keep all of the tonal goodness that you created along the way, though. All right, so this will be in the drone synthetic as well. Yeah, right. A bill is being passed. It's Christmas. Let's decorate it with all our BS. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I had my druthers, you'd get corporations out of the political contributions arena, and you'd have a complete overhaul with campaign finance reform. You put term limits in there, keep people going through those positions, make them a revolving door. Don't let anybody sit in there for 60 years. They're just going to try and keep doing the same thing. And if they can't accomplish it in the number of years that we all agree upon they should be there for, then tough luck. Let someone else try and carry the torch. That's the way I see it. Plenty of other jobs for those people to have. So it's texture 2. So texture 1. Texture 2. Texture 1. Like that one. All right, so this will probably be the last of those drones that we'll knock out. So a couple things here. So saffron, yeah, you're referring to the concept of putting the marbles into the freezer and then taking them out on a really hot summer day and setting them in a bird bath or on some concrete or something and recording all the cracking and stuff. You can do the opposite. Um, you can, heat some up. I wouldn't do it in the microwave or the oven or anything like that. I would take the time to do it in boiling water, right, and get it to a certain point, right? Water boils at 212, so it gives you a pretty clear indication of how warm something is. It doesn't need to be fiery hot, and then just take it out and set them on the ground, um, or somewhere where it'll take just a second for the temperature shift to change. But get your recorder in place first, and don't hold the recorder while it's happening. And you should be able to capture some really good stuff. And if you're worried about too much environmental noise, put like a cardboard box around where you're going to have your recorder, and it'll kind of dampen a bit of the noise. Um, if you're worried about boxiness, you can always put like a some kind of lining inside of that box. Um, if they let people opt out of certain taxes, there would be far less problems. Yeah, I feel like you're right, and I think that I also think that if we were to go down the road of doing something like that and eliminating the idea of a tax loophole, just get rid of it entirely. Whether you're a person, a sole proprietor business, uh, an S corp, a nonprofit, whatever it is, you pay taxes, and there are no loopholes. There are only rules. There are no loopholes. And if you do not pay, then you are penalized, and you do not get any of the benefits that should be coming your way until you do pay, right? I mean, if we really stop and think about it, like there are trillions and trillions of dollars that are not going into things like education, right? And who does that hurt in the end? It hurts all of us. It's a stupid vicious cycle, in my opinion. So I know I'm on a bit of a high horse here, and I don't really talk politics normally, but this is a really stupid thing that we've been doing for a really long time. And the average person, if they clued into all of this, and if it wasn't kept at this fever pitch, at like this confusing fever pitch. So the common person, when they first approach all this, they're like, these people are crazy. You can't even understand what they're talking about. They're never going to get anything done because all they do is they bicker because they're on opposite sides or whatever. And they're right. Like that's a fair first impression, and it does deter people. But you know what? Like if you get rid of legal loophole or tax loopholes, and you just disallow, like just go back to how things were before corporations had a bigger voice than people, and just remember that corporations can exist without people on both sides, all right, on the worker front and on the consumer front, and just be real about that, right? And let these people pay taxes. If they don't want to pay American taxes, they can pay Chinese taxes or Indian taxes or whatever they want, but they got to pay taxes somewhere, right? It's not free. That's the way I see it. And PACs are, I don't know, I think almost a thing of the past. Eventually, someone smart's going to come along and make a very, very simple interface for like a mobile app that we will all use for all of our everythings. And there will be, little alerts. People will stop and take a few seconds and vote how they feel about something, and their voice will be heard, and we'll move on. It's going to take a lot to get there, though. We got to get rid of some folks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the worst things that we can do, I think, as a social species, is withhold wisdom and knowledge from each other where it matters most. Like what one person understands about the environment should be shared with the other people around them so those people don't damage the environment that they're all sharing, right? So they can keep on living. Get the loans for the partying and the housing, right? Oh man. Yeah, I feel like the education thing. Here's the thing. There are so many things that we can withhold from people and ask them to pay us money for. Does knowledge actually have to be one of those things? I'm not sure. Like I've charged people for education for more than half of my life, right? I always try to do it at a level that's far less than what other people are charging. And I try to always deliver far more. And I've done it at the collegiate level and whatnot. And um, I'm just not so I don't think that if we didn't have to sustain ourselves financially in a capitalist system, that we would need to be on that campus for a full year every year. And I think that's really what it comes down to. If people didn't have to measure drip knowledge out to people in order to stay employed for a whole year and keep the whole thing afloat. And I'm talking every single building or every single room in that building on that campus and all the campuses around everywhere. Like if you could find a way to provide a sustaining existence for all those people, which I think you can. I think we could find it very easily in the uplift that we would get from the education. There's a window of time that you would take to ramp up into that. But I think that if everybody had access to knowledge, that they would be contributing in ways that we can't quite imagine right now. Because I think that the percentage of the overall population that these things are withheld from, that resources and opportunities are withheld from, they are the biggest change waiting to happen. And they will have the largest impact upon our overall society because they haven't been allowed to contribute at the level that they could, right? Potential can never be tapped at that in that way. So it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, basic education does need to be guaranteed. And what does basic education mean? I think it needs to be a shifting target. Every single year, we need to add to it, or else we're not progressing. And this idea that there's some like that there's some answer in multiple choice questions in these core systems that have been set up, it's atrocious. It's a joke. Every place is different. Just let people learn the stuff that they need to learn to live where they're living. Um, and let the people that live there figure that out with them. But yeah, basic education needs to be free. No, education is not free, and I would vehemently defend that alongside Paul right there, because I live in Oregon where I've seen everything decimated again and again and again. Like, we're going to grant a company like Intel, for instance, 10 years of paying no real property tax just to bring the jobs into an area. So they do that. They build a campus and they hire 10,000 people after they lay off 8,500 people a few blocks away. Now they don't have to pay property tax, but property tax is exactly how we as a state pay for education because we don't have a sales tax, right? And every state has these same exact loopholes for like negotiating with big business, but the big business is that negotiating is part of the problem. That's part of the problem because they're saying, okay, well, we'll come in and we'll give you jobs, but we're not going to help you educate the people to get the jobs in the future because we know that we are in the business of technology and we won't need the same number of people soon. So for us, that's a non-starter, and the state is desperate for cash. Yeah, it's tough. The college thing is tough. The college thing is tough. I think that we're getting to the point where we're going to have to figure out a big shift on so many different fronts because we're not going to have like employment is no longer going to be the same. Like I think COVID just hurried things along, but we're not working the way that we used to, and we're certainly not going to be working the way that we used to a few years from now. It's going to be It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts, the adjustment period. And there's going to have to be some kind of universal income because there won't be an ability for a lot of people to gain employment soon. There just won't be positions for people to be in. And that's a thing. That's a thing, you know? And I believe that they should have test out certifications as well, Guy. I don't know that campus one campus's piece of paper should be held in a different esteem than a different campus's when it comes to certain things. Like I think that I think we just need to prioritize the industries in our society. I think it's just time to take like just a new page and just say, look, we think that medicine is kind of above everything else. And the people that have dedicated their lives to medicine, they should have a good quality of life, and the schools that they go to matter. So let's fund those schools. Let's make a serious run at this as humans. And you know, if we're going to extend the life expectancy of people, make that accessible to everyone, right? And that's where the real trickiness comes in, because you're telling people on the front side that if they go into this profession, they'll have like this certain kind of lifestyle or whatever they're going to earn, like they're going to be in a different caste or whatever. But then they can't be the same gatekeepers that choose who gets care later, who's worthy of that, because who are they? They're just simply people that decided to pursue this thing called medicine. They went into this to help people. They didn't go into this to withhold it from people. So yeah, I think that there just needs to be a big reassessment of everything. I'm no genius and I don't have all the answers, but I think that uh, the biggest part of making this progress is just getting the same people out of power. The people that have had that power, that have been holding all those things back, that have kept progress from happening for a really long time, just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. Yeah, I agree with each of you guys on this one as far as like, is Wikipedia learning or whatever? Like, let people navigate how they will if that's how they want to learn their stuff. Test out to get certificates. I think that's fair. And I think that those types of tests should be hands on. I don't think that they should be like an online multiple choice kind of thing. Like, there's a huge employment opportunity right there. That's a big employment scheme, right? Put the people that know, that are wanting to help bolster the future of their industry, like let them participate in the testing process. And I think it's a real doable thing. Yeah, and I agree with Paul. It's the access to these things. It's not that these things exist and that people need to go get them. It's the people that can't go get them have a very different perception of all of this than the people that can go get them. And there's a big problem with the fact that there's a group of people in our society that can go get resources and that there's a group of people that simply can't, that it's just denied access to. It's like I talk to, there's like these rich white neighborhoods, like this town called Lake Oswego. I was living on the outskirts of Lake Oswego in Portland, and I had friends in the Lake Oswego area, and I met some of their family from time to time. And conversations like this would come up. And I remember asking them, like, have you ever been to a town that didn't have a grocery store? And they thought that this was like something out of like Russia or something, right? Like one of these horrible, horrible places that doesn't feed their people. And I'm like, have you ever been to Detroit? Like, have you ever been to these places where you roll around and you're looking for a Safeway for like 45 minutes or an hour, and the only thing you see are these little neighborhood markets and like the food options that they have in these little neighborhood market, like they're convenience stores. They're not full of fresh produce and stuff. But that same exact withholding is applied across every single institution and system that we have in our country. And it's rough. That's a really, really rough thing, because as long as that persists, that means that the other half or the other whatever percentage of that society is okay enough with the status quo that they're not really going to pay attention to it. They're not going to acknowledge it. They're not going to see it as an issue, and that's huge. That's just huge. Because as soon as one person starts thinking, well, yeah, but there's a college just down the street. If they really wanted it, they'd go get it. Like they can't make the leap. They can't make the leap. Just like guys like Rand Paul can't make the leap that, someone might actually need a minimum wage set for a business to not take advantage of them any longer. More than just data acquisition, interactions with professors was a huge for me. Oh, and the social interactions. Let's. So I know lots of people going through education right now, like much higher education, master's programs and stuff, and they're doing it online because everything's basically shut down right now. And the biggest gripe amongst all of them is the social interactions are largely missing. And if you stop and think about like all of the brilliant progress that we've made in a bunch of different industries, we owe a large part of that to a couple of people meeting as dorm room buddies or whatever, and then sticking together for life. They have an idea, they make a commitment to each other, and they chase these other ideas throughout their life, right? Like the social aspect is huge. It's not just access to data, and it's not just access to books or the potential of a certificate at the end of a program. It's access to equality and sustainability and fairness. It's access to a lot of things. You can peer review for other auditors. Yeah, there should be many options. Absolutely. Phones, computers, Wi-Fi. Yep. Yeah, just the fact that we have quite literally millions of old textbooks that are sitting there not being used right now, um, is a problem, I think. Yeah, those things might be outdated for someone that's going through a very specific course that requires a specific version of that book, but man, yeah, I think we just got to rethink from the ground up. Yeah, I agree with that too. More online schools are popping up and being competitive. Dude, a free master's. Yeah, got to put in the work, got to put in the time, but you get a master's out of it. That's a life-changing event right there. Man, that's good. All right, did I bounce this one? I think I did. Yes, I did. What's next? Tension drone. All right, let's do this first one here and toss these on that same track. I had someone tell me the other day that they don't want to talk about stuff like equality and fairness because people get so upset about it. I didn't know how to respond. I'm like, yeah, they're upset. They're upset because they're being treated differently than you, and you're not even willing to talk about it. Of course they're upset. My goodness. All right, let's take off that distortion here. I'll balance that. Take this mix down to like maybe 10% or something. Actually, I think I like it better without. All right, it's down a bit. it's this one. Hmm. Yeah, that's very true, Paul. In tech, it's pretty standard for employers to pay. And in industries that require continuing education credits, there's like usually a little something thrown at people. Um, yeah, and honorary degrees and testing out of classes. Like there's so many things that make this whole thing easier, but just the fact that that's necessary is really indicative that there's something wrong, you know? Like, should a school and their board members be turning a profit in the way that they are? Aren't the educate like I understand making something sustainable. I've owned multiple businesses. I've worked and taught in schools. I get it. Things have to sustain. But the misappropriation, like the mismanagement, the misallocation of the money that comes into all of these systems has been perverted. I remember having this like very peculiar kind of outrage swell up inside of me. It was a couple of years ago, and I was listening to the it was the CFO for, I can't remember exactly which company. It was one of the larger insurance companies though. Anyway, I heard almost the same exact line being parroted by a CFO of one of the biggest music distribution companies out there. Anyway, the line went something like this: I have a moral obligation to get the biggest return possible to the shareholders. And I'm sitting there thinking, when this business that you're now working for started, there were no shareholders. That had nothing to do with the vision of that business. Like it's completely perverted the mission statement of almost every major institution out there. There's this usurping that's slowly happened in our country where the cash value or the profit margin of something has become more important morally to a large segment of the people that have become largely detached and disassociated from the day-to-day reality of 90% or more of the people in the same country that they live in. It's really something. Yeah, exactly. In other words, I have a moral obligation to choose greed as my sole driving force, and that's because I have this certificate on my wall. And it's like this horrible disconnect from like themselves even. Like they used to have different thoughts. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a thing. That's why I think we need term limits and stuff like that. Tension, was that tension drone? That was tension drone 1. F2, tension drone texture. Yes. F2, so F3. Yeah, so that's just the thing is you're still prioritizing the shareholders over even the health of the company, even the health of the public image or the reputation of the company doesn't matter as long as the overarching goal, the main priority remains a larger split for the shareholder. And I think that that's a really horrible thing. Yeah, there are plenty of companies that have made a big run to challenge larger corporations that are employee owned. There's a chain of stores out here called Winco that's packed day and night because they go up against companies like Safeway or whatever, and they're employee owned. And yeah, they suck in a lot of ways. Like you go in there and it's like, it's not as maybe comfortable and convenient as this homogenized experience, but you save a bunch of money. And the money that you're spending goes into the communities that you live in, which means that the kids in those communities have decent clothes and books and stuff. Yeah, I have images suddenly in my mind's eye all the time, and sounds all the time. Ooh, let's up this one here. And let's take out the mids on this one. And compare it to the other one. Let's go milder on this one. Oh, I like the noisiness of this one. Oh, Purple Pros, that just made my whole morning. An ant is trying to talk. Paul, I would see your argument for basic income for all of the US of A and posit that if there is some aspect of the gift or fair trade economy theory added into that, you largely start to see people reclaim a sense of ownership and value in themselves and in their own lives. I think that it doesn't matter how you get your money. There's such an uneven distribution of wealth, and I don't think of distribution as well of wealth as something that's like, here you have 10 and you have 10 and you have 10. I think of it more as someone had access to a resource or opportunity that wasn't available to others, and that's fine. That's fine. Not all opportunities need to be made available to everyone, right? We create a lot of the opportunities that we come across in life, right? Um, the resources, though, are something completely different. And if I build an empire for myself and my family, and it gets to be big enough that it affects generations of my family, me being the person that I am, I'm going to feel more and more morally obligated to try to do something really good with this like clout and power that I'm accumulating over time, right? But trusting that everyone's going to do that is obviously not working out too well. It's just not working out too well. Um, so I agree. I agree with the basic income thing, and I think that not only should it happen, but it's going to have to happen soon, because we're not going to be able to employ a lot of the people that are unemployed right now soon. We're just not, because the jobs aren't going to be there anymore, and it's not because someone from somewhere else is taking them. It's because they're no longer there. We're proving that a lot of these things are no longer necessary, that they never were necessary. A lot of them were just frivolous. Um, and it's like a time of reckoning, I think. Hypnagogic imagery. Oh, Guy, I did not know that you have seizures. What kind of seizures do you get? I don't know. He's just an ant, hands out, talking. Like Jiminy Cricket, but an ant? Give him a big crumb. Oh, call your aunt. Oh, man. Yeah, it could absolutely be an unsettling scene in a film. Yeah. Mom's birthday. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the whole accumulation of wealth has got to go. It's got to go. Coming up with this universally applicable tool called money was absolutely necessary to get out of where a lot of people were in order to like build real societies, right? Um, but give me a freaking break. Like, it's so theoretical. Oh man. Is the ant cartoony or is it like naked lunchy? Ant totem medicine. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I know people, medical professionals, I know doctors who have been trying to push the whole gift economy thing to try to come up with ways to keep people in treatment for really debilitating things. And when you've got people fighting that hard for that many years to try to find a way to get people treatment that need treatment, there's something really wrong. There's just something really wrong. And the whole accumulation of wealth thing is just it's always dumbfounded me. If you're never going to touch it, and if your relatives can't touch it, then I don't know, just saying. Like human-sized real trying to tell you something. Oh wow. When resources are scarce, competition. Yeah. Word. Like Harvey. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, there's this whole segment of business education that teaches you, well, if you have an idea and there is no demand for it, then here's how you create the demand. And it's like, okay, I understand that you're teaching people how to operate in the world of business. But that right there is such a dangerous thing to teach generations of people that are going to go forth and become the masters of industry, because you're giving them this kind of carte blanche authority to move beyond necessity and and warp the idea of it, right? Convince people that something is needed when in reality it's so not necessary. It's so not needed. And people end up pumping the large majority of their potential wealth, right? Of what could become their potential wealth into these things. And it just sucks them dry. And it's a horrible thing to see again and again and again. What up, Voss? How you doing? Down a bit of a rabbit hole today. I don't know. I think that people need to stop dancing around these things and just be willing to talk to them. I know so many people that are like, I'm not going to talk about that on my stream because, or on my channel or in my blog or whatever, because it's not, it's off brand. It's like, yeah, well, man, then I don't ever want to hear you complain about it again. That's how I see it. There you go. Your dad was a Sanskrit professor. The concept of demand for that level of education defines a civilization. Oh, man. Yeah, and it's tough. You know, you used to have to like dedicate an entire university department to these types of things and maintain funding for it. Now there's an app for that. All right, let's get this one in. It's a good one. Let's take this up to one of the radio noise ones, maybe. All right, get our fade curves on here. Take a little out around 500 on this one as well. Help keep madness at bay. Yeah, okay. Nice. Copy this one. All right, so this one's got to go into atmospheres, textures, complex. Underwear humor. It's its own category of humor. All right, let's put this one into that same track here. Long one. See, that's the thing is I think that when people are sitting in a room, they're brought together by other like-minded individuals around a topic that is not what ultimately gets discussed as like political or environmental or whatever. But anyway, just removing the initial I want to choose my words wisely here. The initial okay, I guess. The justification for being dismissive about something, right? Because if someone said like, hey, I have a Republican live stream or I have a Democratic live stream, and then they were saying these things on their stream, there's already just this huge chunk of people that would be thinking like, I'm not even going to tune into that. They have nothing good to say or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's so dismissive right from the get. But like we all have so much in common and we all basically want like 90% or more of the things. We all want the same exact things. And God, there's got to be a way for us to remember that. There's got to be a way. I don't know what it is, but I'd like to think that music somehow has something to do with it. I don't think it does, though. Yeah, mostly in the middle. All right, let's add some interesting beef to this thing. Yeah, I like that one too. And this would actually be a fairly simple. Hmm. Yo, what up, Subvids? How you doing? Yeah, I love me some Bit Crush, Foss. We are having a bounce party right now, Subvids. We are bouncing out sounds, starting to fill up the categories in this new library that's being built. And Guy, I hear you, man. I'll tell you what, I don't think the Facebook and stuff like that is the right platform for actual growth and progress on these matters, because people are in bubbles. They're parroting a lot of what they hear elsewhere, in an attempt to come across a certain way, or to like hold a position of authority in something. But I don't think that these are good conversations to really invest our peace of mind in. I think that the very first thing that would have to happen if we were really honestly going to have an overhaul of something like healthcare in our country is a really hard look at the concept of insurance, the concept of health insurance, and what the concept of having a single payer plan actually is. How many people that are arguing for insurance companies understand that there's more money being spent on denial of claims than there is in support of claims, and that gap widens every single year? There are literally departments dedicated to this, right? It's just, yeah. Yeah, it's not intended to be managed as an industry. It's intended to be managed as a necessity, is the thing, right? Like, we've just got it twisted. We've got it twisted. Why, if, I don't know, I take the same umbrage to that kind of circular thinking as I do when people are hugely dismissive of racial inequality and then they sit down with their tacos and they watch an NBA game. It's just like, it's just staring them right in the face at every single turn in their own lives. It's just like, um, um, who made that meal? Who's playing on the court? Who's entertaining you? Who, like, at, it's conveniences. How did we end up all political today? I know. It's just like so ridiculous to me that I just run out of words and I'm like, not only do I never want to watch another NBA game with you because I freaking love the NBA, but I'm never going to cook you tacos again either. You know what I mean? Like, you're just completely missing the boat here. Completely. science laboratory in there. All right, let's listen through a few of these and see if we're kind of in the right vicinity loudness-wise. Okay, so these all feel very good loudness-wise. It was the talking ant that did this. This is a naked lunch moment, actually. Oh, the squirrel noise. This sounds like the ant from that movie. Okay, where's the freaking squirrel noise? Let's just go find the freaking squirrel noise really quick. That was way back. That was going back a ways. Where the hell is that? Oh man. This was going back a ways. Chimes. Sweeps. Snake shaker, liminal rain, hollow earth. We're here. We're in this time period. Tape on whiteboard. Washed out. Oh, angry little squirrel. Here it is. Oh man, you guys ready? This was October 2nd, 2020, and you guys were there. This is the real squirrel. One more. Okay, let me stand up in defense of the NBA really quick, okay? I'm going to play devil's advocate because I see what's happening here, but I will say NBA players are allowed to speak and do what they want politically and socially. When the pandemic thing was going sideways and the leader of the free world was disavowing that anything was even happening, Adam Silver says, "All right, we're shutting down the season." And that gave an opportunity for every other professional sport in the world to then follow suit and shut down, and people started to start taking it seriously. And you know what they did when they started coming back? When Black Lives Matter protests were erupting and stuff, they let these guys put whatever they wanted onto their jerseys and make political statements in game, during press conferences. They don't control or limit what can be said in social media. um, they are paid a massive amount of money when compared to other mainstream professional sports. And if you stop and you think about the type of inequity there is in earning alone between people of different color or standing inside of professional sports that are not the NBA, it's alarming, right? I don't know. And all the safety protocols that have been put into play to protect the players over the years, the change in gameplay, none of it has been met with this political angst and anger that you see and dismissiveness that you see in like the NFL or something. So I would say that I don't think that it's right for a society to be pouring billions and trillions of dollars into games when we've obviously got other problems. But humans are freaking flawed, right? And I would say that as far as circus and cake and all that kind of stuff goes, um, I'd I'd rather see my own child deriving lessons from the NBA making decisions in a time like this than I would say any other sport, really. Oh yeah, right there, arena football, more Roman games, right? Oh man. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And it's hard to know what to feel about these things for a lot of people because they're afraid that people are just going to jump down their throats for having opinions about stuff or whatever. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I do look at the NBA a little bit differently because there's been this very conscious movement to move away from a bunch of entitled white guys from the academic world talking about these highly athletic guys running around and actually making the magic happen and like actually accomplishing all of these things, to giving a career path to these guys where after they break their bodies to keep us entertained, they can then talk to us about all of these things from a point of like true perspective and experience. And I think that's pretty good too. Yeah, the blah blah blah. Yeah, well, I was given a curse at a young age, Paul. I was made a Blazer fan at a young age, so I don't really have much say in the matter at all. I have to be there for them. Yeah, I definitely don't tune in much into the sports world, but I try to keep up on my Blazers, mostly as a means of escape. Orioles and Bruins since you were 10. Yeah, I feel like we've all got it, right? I mean, every industry has got this. We're sitting here in the music industry and we're talking about how bad people have it in the sports industry. It's like at least they're getting freaking paid. Oh man. MMA only now, says Guy. I know a few people that have written off everything except for wrestling over the years. They're like, if I'm gonna watch something, I want it to be as fake and meaningless as possible. So it's just sheer entertainment, and I don't have to actually think about like serious things, which I guess I can also comprehend. See, this is where the true colors start to come out. Saf is all, yeah, I think the Flyers are okay as a team, but screw everyone else. Oh, man. Watching curling and snowboarding as well. Nice, nice. Flyers are thugs. Sparks are flying. Shots fired. Oh, man. And the smack talk in the NBA? It's just great. It's like the original soap opera for me. All right, let's hear the angry scroll again. I'm going to copy this over to the desktop. All right, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to beef it up, and we're going to put this into the stream. We're just going to make a button for it, and you guys can just make this happen. Well, I guess I will be the keeper of the key, but you guys can request it. Oops. I mean, this thing doesn't even need processing, right? Further processing. More. More. Getting there. A little bit more. Almost. There we go. That squirrel wants attention. Ah! That's the one right there. All right, let's bounce that. We're just going to bounce this to whatever folder. Just move this out of there. Put this on my desktop. I'm going to find a way to add this. Let's see here. I need a picture of an angry squirrel. Can someone find me a picture of a very angry squirrel, like or something like that? We're going to make something happen right now. We're just going to set this up and never turn it off. All right, let's see here. Special boards, sound, video, mixed. Let's add one here. This was number 1. Oops. Sorry, guys. 17. Let's make this number 9. We'll set this to number 9. And we will add our audio source here. Upload. Desktop. Angry squirrel. Yes. Robot chicken squirrel time. Yeah, maybe. The best spectator sport, hockey. Oh, dude. Paul, you'll love this. So I was in Scouts when I was younger. We went to a Winterhawks game. It's our local team here in Portland. They square off at center ice, and this puck flies up and smacks right into the plexiglass right next to us. We're in the front, right? And we're just like, like 12-year-old boys or something. And this hockey puck just slams against the plexiglass. And then all of a sudden, these guys just come over and bam, and they get into this fight right there, like at tip-off, right? And or whatever it's called in hockey. And the most amazing thing happened. Like, we're all up like this, and we can feel like the plexiglass like pushing up against us as they're throwing punches or whatever. And this guy lands this punch on this guy's face, and this drop of blood hits the ice and it bounces, and all of us like stopped and we're looking at each other like, did you just see the blood bounce on the ice? That's a real thing. Face off. Thank you. There were a bunch of young boys completely hooked on hockey like immediately in that moment. It was absolutely hilarious. 22 USB devices. Holy hell. Ooh, that's a good one. Wait, this is a beaver though. Or is it, wait, is this a squirrel? This is a very angry looking squirrel. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll show you guys the squirrel. That's, it looks like a beaver squirrel. Look at those teeth. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's great. All right. So now I just need to add this to that. Okay, let's test this. Okay. All right, now, how do I save this? Hold on just a second. All right, here we go. We're going to test the angry squirrel. Oh, Guy, no, this is not the NHL. This is the Winterhawks, which is like it's like a farm league thing, a minor league thing. Um, the opposite experience. You go to your first game and it was super, super boring. Foss, take care, dude. 8th grade, a group of us got tickets next to the visiting team penalty box to taunt opposing players. Only one dumb minor the whole game. Oh, man. So it goes. So it goes. Toronto Marlboros minor hockey for us. No way to get ice seats. Oh, man. All right. It's 1 o'clock. I gotta go get ready for a session here in a minute, but I want to figure out a way to connect the squirrel for you guys too. Wait. The stuff that can be triggered through commands and chat is only visual though, huh? It doesn't actually tap into audio triggers, does it? I want to find a way to let you guys... That's a dangerous proposition. McGregor versus Diaz. Well, being sold on fighting sports is one thing, but once you got a little kid in the house, everything changes. Even if you do get into that kind of stuff, I feel like you gotta be careful when you introduce that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? I'm just gonna give you guys a bunch of commands that could let you like dominate everything that's happening here. What could possibly go wrong? Don't be a savage. EQ your reverb. Or else. Come on. Streamlabs, come on. Or else. There we go. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't know. Sports is a tricky one. It's kind of like music, right? Because to each your own, right? Like I freaking love hip hop. I get it. Some people aren't into hip hop. I get it. I get it. Some people really, really love boxing and see it as like the purest sport. And I like basketball. I get it. You like most sports. I am blown away by most highly athletic people. That's my thing. I'm just fairly just blown away by what some people can actually do. Huh. Subvids, I got your email and I will respond after the stream. But the short answer is yes, of course. And you can always send me stuff. And this goes for the rest of you. There was a question that came in. Hey, would you be willing to do some mixing or mastering or whatever? And the answer is going to be yes. And I will always count you little core crew of folks that's always here as family when it comes to that kind of stuff. So don't hesitate to reach out. Which squirrel, Paul? Which squirrel do you love? Cricket is not a sport, though. Yeah, there is a great sumo channel on Twitch. Every once in a while, I'll watch it and pretend that I'm eating sushi in some really awesome sushi bar somewhere. Although I'm not, because freaking COVID. Man, there was a period of time where I was single and I would go and I would grab sushi several times a week at this joint that was right down the street from my place. It had such good sushi. And they had this this Japanese cable package. I can't remember what it was. The guy who ran the place told me several times. I can't remember what it was. But it was all live. It was all live and very legit. And people would come in at the oddest hours. It was so funny because like midday there would be this big match happening in Japan, and so you'd see these like guys, like business world guys, come in and just get completely schnockered midday, like, oh man, just drowning themselves in sake and watching sumo. That's when I actually got into sumo for a while. I actually really looked forward to, like, I'd get done with work or whatever, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta go watch some sumo and get a little bit of sushi. Oh yeah, Saf. Yeah, I feel like people that have never actually done sports, like I come from an athletic family, and people that have never done sports don't, I don't know. There's like this cool thing that happens with professional sports where the people that make it into the professional leagues, like they all have this super cool demeanor about them, and people just feel like I don't know. It's similar to music where they're like, ah, these people are just like so super cool. They have this jet set lifestyle or whatever. It's like, man, they don't have much control over what they do every single minute of every day. They don't get to eat the food that they want. Like they're constantly in like domination mode. That's all life. Yeah, there you go, Space Bats. But you can appreciate what people are doing. I hear you. I feel that about music and sports as well. Your first date was a basketball game, Purple Pros? I did not know that. What basketball was it? Are we talking like high school basketball game here? Or are we talking like Blazers or what? Squirrel. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Pay attention to me. Mr. Rolfs drove you. It was in first grade. Well, there you go. Squirrel. Paul, take care, dude. Thanks for hanging with us. And yeah, it was nice to solve all the world's problems today, wasn't it? Wow. The Japanese salaryman is an interesting stereotype. Oh, man. Played judo for years back in the day. I like that. I played judo. I like that. That's nice. Oh, man. Eric kissed you under the basketball hoop. Oh my gosh. I remember. All right, so this is going back a ways. Also, like first grade-ish or so. Sarah Westendorf. Oh man. I'm not sure if I'm actually supposed to say names like that on Twitch, so my apologies, Sarah. But yeah, we liked one another, and there was a crush. There was a kiss under the basketball hoop as well. It was pretty awesome. Ironically, many, many moons later, and this is like years after high school, my dad and my sister, who were still living in the house that I grew up in at the time, were out somewhere down in California or something. They were on a trip somewhere, and I had popped by to like feed animals and stuff in the house. And while I'm there, I decide that I'm going to go into the backyard and play basketball for a while because we put in a basketball court in the stretch of the backyard lawn down by the creek where I grew up, and I would play until past the sun going down every single night when I was younger. And so I'm back there, I'm taking care of the house for a night, and I decide, well, I don't need to take off right away. I'm going to go shoot some hoops. And I'm back there shooting hoops, and someone creeps up and scares the hell out of me, and it's her, it's Sarah, and it's like I haven't seen her since, because she moved away from our hood to like Issaquah, Washington, back in like second or third grade or something. So it was a very short-lived romance. But yeah, she had like grown up, become like a firefighter, and here she was like standing in my backyard, and I'm like, what? Man, that was a weird moment. I love that. Eric was my boyfriend and kissed me under a basketball hoop. Because you had a computer at home. Eric was also Guy's boyfriend. Oh no. Now guys, he used to like you, Purple Pros. Oh, the irony that the angry squirrel came from you, though. All right. I'm going to stop hitting the button, and I'm going to go get ready for some stuff. I'm going to go make some music. Thank you all for hanging out. I can't believe Guy stole your lover. Wait a minute. Or did you steal Guy's lover? It's very confusing. Should we go raid Foss? Yes, Zev, I will see you in about 50 minutes. Hey, let me just pull up that Twitch thing really quick and see if Foss is online right now. Because if he's streaming, let's go raid him. If you haven't gone and downloaded your free sound packs, go do that. I'm going to take them out and put up new stuff for February. All right. Raid. Oh, Bauer's on. All right, let's see if Foss is up here. There he is. He can't hide from us. All right, kitty cats, I'll see you on the flip. Thank you so much for spending another Monday with you, or with me. There's no stream this Friday. I'll be doing an extra stream either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll surprise you with it. All right, y'all. Peace out. And be nice to Foss in there, huh? All right, see ya.